Hello and welcome back to Let's Play James Fighters Anthology. Today we will be doing the Ukraine campaign. This is one of my favorite campaigns of all time, and also my favorite campaign in this game. Ukraine, 1997. When Russian nationals seize power, you and the Ike must defend our Ukrainian allies. So we will be continuing it with our pilot, John Shepard. This is going to get we'll keep this. We'll start earning promotions and medals, but all of our stats from Vietnam, as you can see, have been reset. So with that, let's get into it.
Good morning, folks, and welcome to the Black Sea. Our first order of business today is to welcome a guest, an accomplished pilot of the Ukrainian Air Force. Alexander, you want to stand up? Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Lieutenant Alexander Miasov. Alexander is here to experience everything carrier aviation has to offer. Claustrophobia, shit for food, and the hottest flying in the world. As part of our recently signed defense pact with the Ukraine, pilots like Alexander will be training with U.S. forces in the region. They'll be logging hours on various U.S. combat aircraft, with the exception, of course, of our new navalized version of the F-14, which remains classified. In return for lending them your airplanes, each of you will have opportunities to fly the Sukhoi 33, the top-of-the-line Ukrainian naval interceptor. So if you ever wanted to check out in this eastern powerhouse, this may be your only chance.
We've got us an emergency situation. The new Russian government is seeking to put Boris Yeltsin on trial and execute him. The president has asked us to help him escape. At this moment, Yeltsin is on an airliner headed toward the Ukrainian border. Now you're going to intercept the airliner and see that it makes it safely to a Ukrainian airport. You may encounter Russian interceptors attempting to force the airliner to land. Do not, repeat, do not fire on any Russian aircraft unless it appears that the airliner is in imminent danger. Okay? Go to it. Be careful out there.
And that's one of the reasons why I love these cinematics. You see, we get the squadron briefing, in which we get one of those every day to start off the day. And then I think sometimes we get a debriefing at night then too, once all our missions are done for the day. And then we also get our own individual briefing for the mission. And I just love, how that officer is so stereotypical. You know, we got shit for food, but the hottest flying in the world and all that. I love that. That's something you see more in the 90s and 80s than anywhere else. And games these days just don't have it. And really, I think the only thing that would make this game even better would be if the menu was you walking around a carrier. I know some games do stuff like that. Descent Free Space did that. I think James Longbow did that, at least one of them. There's an old game about mercenary fighter pilots on GOG that I think does that. And I think most of the Wing Commander titles did that too. And I miss that. Another thing I want to point out before I get into the briefing here is I love how good a job games have done at predicting the future. I mean, this game more or less predicted the conflict in Ukraine to some extent. Obviously not a full-blown war like this, but, Russia has taken over Crimea and parts of eastern Ukraine. And, likewise, and this game was, 96, 97-ish, I think, maybe 95. At least in the original U.S. Navy fighters iteration of it. Now, also, Command and Conquer from Westwood Studios, specifically their General's title, the GLA, or Global Liberation Army, in that game is a spitting image of ISIS. And, that game was made in 2003 about a global Islamic terrorist network, and, now for the past several years we've been dealing with the global Islamic terrorist network. And it's a little eerie at times how well some of these games have predicted the future, but that will actually get into the briefing now. Eviction notice. USS Eisenhower, CVN 69. Date, March 24th. Local time, 1000 hours. Weather, clear. Situation. Reactionary forces in Russia, led by prominent members of the Russian Parliament, aka the Congress of People's Deputies, have successfully led a coup against President Boris Yeltsin. The new government is seeking to try Yeltsin on charges of treason, demagoguery, and conspiracy against the Russian people. The U.S. President has declared that the United States will defend its reputation as a power that protects its friends. All branches of the government and the armed services have been directed to use every means possible to help Yeltsin arrive safely in the West. Mission objective. Yeltsin has boarded a civilian airliner and is currently heading south out of Moscow toward neutral Ukraine. USS Eisenhower is currently engaged in maneuvers in the Black Sea. Aircraft from the USS Eisenhower are to escort the airliner and see that it lands safely at a Ukrainian airport. Any aircraft posing an immediate threat to the airliner should be engaged. Order of battle, recommended aircraft F-4B, recommended weapons AIM-9M, AIM-54, AIM-120, threat suppression data, ground opposition none, air opposition possible MiG-29s, MiG-31s, and Su-27. And we see we'll be flying from the Eisenhower from the Sea of Azov, which that's actually really far up in there. I personally wouldn't want to be on a carrier operating there because, all you got to do is line the shore with anti-ship missile batteries and, now you got to defend yourself against a swarm attack, which with enough ships you probably could do, but it's an unnecessary risk in my opinion, especially granted technically we aren't at war with Russia, but there wouldn't be a game if we weren't going to be at war with them, spoiler alert. So here's about Russia, where Russia is. Here's Donetsk, which is actually one of the... What? Oh, that's a bug. That's supposed to be Ukrainian, not Arab Egyptian. Okay. But yeah, we're going to basically fly out to the border and intercept them into Donetsk. We will take our trusty F-14 Tomcat for this mission, and unfortunately we won't be able to take it for every mission. It's just the nature of the mission and the aircraft we have available. Technically we could probably take the F-18, they give us the F-18D Hornet for every mission, but some of the missions would be a bit more challenging, especially this first one. So what my rule of thumb here is going to be is for anti-air missions, we're going to take the F-14, and for anti-surface and for anti-ground and anti-surface operation, we're going to take the Hornet. And I might also take the Hornet if we're going to be facing a lot of enemies because they have more hard points, and I can mount extra AMRAMs onto those hard points. But for now, we'll take our trusty F-14 Tomcat. Favorite aircraft, by the way. I dreamt of flying these when I was growing up as a kid, and then Cheney and Boeing and Lockheed Martin had to kill them off and shred them all. So thanks a lot, Cheney. But and Rumsfeld too. But that's a rant for another day. I try not to rant too much about it, at least in this episode. So the F-14, because of its pending retirement, was never certified to carry the AMRAM. Now, obviously, we don't have to care as much about that since in the game they have a navalized F-22 Raptor. But we're going to try to stick to realism, at least for the beginning. Now we have the AIM-54C Phoenix, which is a long-range anti-air missile, specifically designed for shooting down bombers. So we're only going to take 2 of them on this mission. We want to conserve because you see we only get 60 for the campaign. And we're going to stick to history here and load the AIM-7 Sparrow. This is going to be an improved version from Vietnam, so it's still going to be a semi-active missile, but we should see significantly better performance from it. And most importantly, we have the AIM-9M Sidewinder, which is an all-aspect variant of the Sidewinder. So we'll be able to shoot this from any angle now, not just the rear, although it's still more effective from the rear. And that should give us, that should make it a lot easier to actually use these. And if we run out of these, well, we have our shitty AIM-9Bs still. We have 150 AMRAMs, so we'll want to use those. We can be a bit more eager in their use versus the Phoenix. But the Sparrow we get 200, so if we use that whenever possible, I think that should leave us feeling pretty good on Phoenix missiles and AMRAAMs. They give you a couple Russian missiles too, the AA-12 Adder, or the Amramsky, as the Russians nickname it. That's roughly equivalent to the AMRAAM missile. And then the AA-11 Archer, which is roughly equivalent to the AIM-9M Sidewinder. And those are meant to, I think... Okay, so they don't actually let you know. Those are meant to go with Alexander's aircraft, which, if you noticed in the hangar screen, was an option for us to pilot the Su-33. I probably won't do that in the campaign, but I will do because generally I actually find it to be pretty inferior to the F-14, which is its closest equivalent. So we'll be sticking with the F-14 and the F-18. Now, to finish off our loadout, we have an internal cannon, not as many rounds as the external pod on the Phantom, but we get a cannon from the start. You know, that's a good thing. And for this mission, we get plenty of fuel tanks, but we're probably going to drop a tank, and since we're going to use the 250s more often than the 500s, I'm going to take the 500 because it's the same capacity, and I believe it lightens us up a little bit too, since you have it in one tank instead of two. And with that, we're going to start our mission. And for any other Tomcat fans out there, excuse me, if you want to see some hypothetical Tomcats, had they not retired them prematurely and shredded them all, if you go and look for a game on Steam, it's really more of a simulator called Command Modern Air Naval Operations. They do have hypothetical loadouts past 2006 for the F-14D, and I believe maybe also for the other variants, as well as advanced variants that, in my opinion, should have complemented the Super Hornet, most notably the advanced Super Tomcat. So it's definitely worth it. Now here's Yeltsin. We can see, we'll take a quick look. We see our fleet, our carrier actually has a battle, same model, save for the different number on it. That's the Kitty Hawk, and just as undersized as Kitty Hawk. But we do have our super long range radar, as you can see. Our radar warning receiver works out to about 50 miles, which is pretty nice, really. So we're going to get some altitude here, and we're going to try to close in on these interceptors as fast as possible, since they're the biggest threat to Yeltsin right now. Let's set a 5-degree bank. So we're getting within range. What we'll probably do is, once these guys lock on to Yeltsin, hopefully we'll be in enough range to fire off a missile, and that should hopefully get their attention and lure it away from the island. We're going to throw on jammers. That's another good thing we have, is we have defensive jammers. I don't know how much it's going to help Yeltsin. Because I don't know how the game models it. In theory, if we were close enough to Yeltsin, we could put him under a protective umbrella, I think. In reality, I don't think it does anything for him. I think it only affects the missiles that are going to be heading for us. But it will put us on their radars quicker, and hopefully help draw their attention. And it should have been. So we're getting up there. We're almost feeling supersonic now. And generally I would not use a Phoenix missile on a fighter like this, but we're fortunate in this case in that while the MiG-31 is fast, it's not very maneuverable, since the design favors speed over maneuverability, just like with the MiG-25 that it replaced. Now we'll want to keep an eye on the fuel here. Yeltsin can take one hit, I believe, depending on the RNG of how much damage the weapon does, but we generally don't want to press our luck with that. Our wingman should be back here. I'll send him to Echelon. So hopefully it's good. start him off the bat as a very experienced pilot. And he's moving into attack, so we are going to fire our first missile and hopefully draw their attention. And we'll order our wingmen to attack other bandits. If we can make this guy dodge quickly enough, we should hopefully have a minute before he fires. Oh, no, he's already firing. So hopefully they won't get... Now he's evading us, so at least he's not getting off more than one shot. And we're going to fire our other Phoenix missile at his wingman. And his wingman should separate out from him soon. I don't want to waste a missile on this guy if I don't have to. If I can. Well, I probably should have. He's getting. Yeah. Okay. Of course. Now, if this were a real Phoenix missile, I could probably retarget it to this guy, but fortunately, it's not, so that's going to be a wasted missile. Because the Phoenix, but it isn't really active until the terminal, until like the last 10 miles or so, because missiles have small radar. So what ends up happening is they're given a waypoint essentially by the Tomcat's computer, and they fly to that waypoint, and as long as the Tomcat has the target on radar, it can update that waypoint, so if the target changes course or speed, it can keep the missile in range. So that way, once it goes active, it'll be within the engagement cone of the missile. Alright. We're going to have him disengage. We can finish him ourselves. Hopefully, our squirrel will get a lock soon. He is really intent on taking down that airline. Hopefully, our wingman's missile will cause him to dodge. So let's check real quick. Yeltsin is undamaged by some miracle. And he might even be attacking our wingman. And our wingman's pretty far back. So and our wingman got him. Okay, so now we can ease off on fuel. The Tomcat is a very thirsty bird. And we can turn off our jammers now, I think. They do make the enemy more likely to target you, although in theory they should also... They shot down a random Ukrainian transport, apparently. Ugh. Hope they weren't carrying a lot of troops. But that's not our problem. What is our problem is we need to find Yeltsin and finish our swing. There he is. So that should have bled off. We're just below supersonic now. We managed to create officer suit from that. So our wingman should be joining up with us. We see there's an enemy aircraft. I think it's a MiG-27, which is actually a ground attack aircraft. It's a variant of the MiG-23, which was actually a fighter, and it was Russia's response to the F-14 Phantom. I'd say it's roughly equivalent in performance, but I think the MiG-23 was somewhat inferior, actually. But they were essentially the head. Each generation has a head. Like the F-86 and the MiG-15. You have the Phantom and the MiG-23, although they end up facing the MiG-21 and the MiG-17 more often than anything else. The F-15 and the Su-27, the F-14 and the Su-33. Every generation has its head-to-head comparisons. And that's the nice thing about this game. It does model the wing sweep. It wings jitter a lot more than I'd like, but you can see our wing will sweep just like the real Tomcat, which is always nice. So we'll give him a flyby that Maverick would be proud of here. Let's hope he's sitting on the side of the cockpit, or of the plane. No, if a Russian plane did that to an American plane, you'd hear about it on the news, how it was an unsafe intercept. But we want Yeltsin to be reassured that his American allies are here to protect him, so that way we can put him back in as soon as the crisis is over. And we'll do the other side just for kicks and giggles. And because we can, we'll be unprofessional and buzz the tower. Careful there, wingman. I suppose that's the danger of putting him in the tight spacing like that. That's all he can do is react to me. Okay. We'll climb to altitude now and provide protection for the airport should anyone else want to intrude. I don't think they will. There's the Ukrainian MiG-21. Yeltsin overshot the runway, I think. Jesus.
Mission accomplished.
But mission's considered accomplished. We'll fly around a bit longer because we can. And Yeltsin has thanked us for the help. We're going to turn around and we'll fly home now. And we should have more than enough fuel to get us home. Let's watch him slowly crawl back. But we got our wingman to keep us company, so keep us company on the long trip home. So with that, now we've done a nice little photo op. Get about I'm a little sad that we ended up wasting. There's a Russian MiG. We're technically not supposed to engage. So we will. So we are going to head back to the carrier, and we can actually see the carrier, light up on our RWR pretty well. Yeah, I'm not worried about fuel. We do have AWAC support and the helicopter doing, I guess, its usual patrols. So they typically have a helicopter flying around the carrier when it's doing landing operations. I believe, I could be mistaken on this, but I believe they normally have a helicopter flying around just so that way if someone goes in the drink, then they can swoop on in and scoop them up right away. We see everyone has taken off from the carrier that was there at the beginning. See the nice 69. I love the little rust coming out of the holes at the bottom. You know, that's some nice detail, I think. We have 2 Ticonderoga class missile cruisers and an Iowa class battleship here, and there's 2 supply ships of the Sacramento class behind us. We'll switch our HUD to navigation mode for now. And we're 20 miles out, so we could probably drop it to 5,000 feet or so. Actually, something I want to do is I want to buzz the carrier on this one too. Just because we can.
We're almost home.
So there, we're almost home. This will give us a chance. We'll see the nice close-up of the Iowa with that same pretty good attention to detail. A 2-dimensional mass, but here's the carrier. Slower throttle a bit. 34% is probably more than enough. And according to this, the height of the carrier up to the top of those antennas is roughly 800 feet, give or take. It's actually pretty impressive. And really tough.
Echelon formation.
Echelon formation, yeah. Hey. I don't know why he got out of it, but... Beautiful. So, let's, we'll head in for the landing then, but not right away because the helicopter's going to wants to land. So that is something we're going to have to deal with more often, is waiting with other aircraft to get into the landing pattern. Let me find a fuel. That MiG is a bit closer than I'd like. There's one there. There we go. There's one about 30 nautical miles out from the carrier. Normally we'd be escorting him away, but then again we are in the Sea of Azov, which is really right up in Russia's business there. So, you know, it's really not... He has every right to basically be within 30 miles of the carrier, essentially. I don't know how big it is off the top of my head, and I'm sure the game makes it at least half the size it's supposed to be, but... What do we got here? Oh, that's the Ukrainian MiG. He's going in for a landing. So, we have cities, nice modern cities. Farms. And I don't see his airfield anywhere. But yeah, there's a little more detail. I mean, the Vietnam, don't get me wrong, the Vietnam campaign was great, but there's some detail here that you aren't going to see in Vietnam. Like, you never saw rice paddies anywhere in Vietnam. So hopefully that helicopter should be about done. So we're going to get in position to do our landing. Where is he actually? So, let's switch to... I think that's supposed to be the shadow of the helicopter. And there's the helicopter. We're approaching a lot faster. So let's throttle down a bit here. Not too much though. We're already pretty low for speed. Now, in theory, we should have good low speed handling characteristics because of our swoop wing, but I don't want to push our luck. We are a fairly heavy fighter, and it's probably going to take me a couple episodes before I get used to our landing characteristics here. And the reason they're not giving us instructions is because the helicopter has priority. The helicopter, which is crawling near to us. Actually, what we can do is yeah, they're moving at 100. Oh, actually, we're barely moving faster than them. So I withdraw my earlier complaint. We need to boost the throttle up because we are losing altitude. That seems to have stabilized us for now. So I'm kind of curious. Okay. So right now the flaps are basically generating extra lift for us. That's why I always deploy them. I know. I don't think the autopilot does, but so now they're giving us landing instructions.
4 miles.
But the
Go right.
and you see the helicopter lands just like planes are doing vertical.
Clear to land.
So now we're clear to land, so hopefully that helicopter moves fast off there soon.
Wind 10 knots.
I don't want to have to go
Go right. Go right. Go right. Fire. Fire.
A little speed off.
3 miles.
We're gonna go left a little bit now.
Fire. 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 On the ball. Lower.
Now we want to be lower.
Lower.
Of course we do.
Lower. 2 miles. Lower. Lower.
Okay, we don't have a great descent
Lower.
rate yet. That'll take some
Lower. 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 One mile. Lower. 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 Higher. Higher. Lower. Steady. Fair landing.
Okay, it's not great, but we got a fair landing at least. So we'll taxi off, we'll let our wingman land, and we'll see how many other planes actually come back. Now we gotta be careful because our wings spread wide out. We can't manually put them in the oversweep for carrier parking. So we do have to be very careful when maneuvering the Tomcat around on the carrier. So we'll roll and we'll park ourselves about there. It's further up than I'd like, but I don't think we're in danger of hitting anyone. Now we see there's our Tomcat. Gotta make it 25 miles. I'm comfortable with that. We'll at least let him land. I don't know if we'll wait for. I think there was a Hornet and a Corsair and maybe an Intruder here earlier. I don't think we're gonna wait for that. And we'll definitely have to find out how to perfect our landings. I think we were somewhat close to dialing it in, at least way better than the beginning of the game. So Oh, actually, I wonder if the Eisenhower is bigger, because it actually looks like he might fit on that elevator. Whereas the Phantoms, which I think they're roughly the same size as the Tomcat, maybe a little smaller. You know, those were oversized for the Kitty Hawk's elevators, at least in the game. But I wonder if that's because they typically have so many more aircraft on the deck too. But something to think about. In any case, that was a job well done. Debrief. USS Eisenhower, CVN 69. Date, March 24th. Mission, Eviction Notice. Resolution, success. Congratulations, you successfully engaged and destroyed 2 Russian MiG-31s attempting to intercept an Aeroflot airliner carrying exiled President Boris Yeltsin. The former Russian president wanted to personally thank you, and he insisted that the story of your brave performance would get a paragraph in his up-and-coming biography. We need a full paragraph. So we had a landing rate of 50%. Oh, we ran at 54%. That's fine. It's not bad. We both bagged the MiG-31. We made the mistake of launching that second Phoenix. I really wish we had it. Hopefully that won't bite us in the butt later. Whereas our wingman looks like he also had a launch too. His first one didn't score a full kill on it. No one launched on us. Really, I don't think. Yeah, that MiG-31 decided to go after that AN-71, 72 Polar. Whatever.
I don't believe this crap. They put American pilots on the line to save Boris Yeltsin's butt.
Hold on, John. The way CAG put it, he was an ally. We owed him.
We don't owe him nothing, Gary. The guy acted like a total dictator. He imprisoned people without cause. He shot up the Russian parliament with tanks, and God knows what else.
What do you think of Yeltsin, Alex?
He was a hell of a lot better than the fascists running Russia now. At least Yeltsin was pro-West.
That's right. If these nationalist jerks get a bug up their butt and start a shooting war, we may be sorry old Boris is gone.
I also forgot about that. There's the at least once a day, you have like basically some water cooler talk with other pilots in the room. Now, I believe we were the pilot sitting next to a female pilot, and then Alexander, our Ukrainian exchange student, was the guy in the dark green olive uniform. We sustained no damage on our Tomcat. I assure you, unlike Vietnam, we will actually sustain subsystem damage. I can guarantee it. This campaign is twice the length of the Vietnamese campaign, and the weapon systems are significantly more advanced, so odds are we will be taking some hits. So that's it for this episode, and we'll see you next time back in Ukraine.